Hey guys, Marsengan here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to be taking a look at the physical Toppo who's just released on Global. I was unable to pull him in the small amount of summons that I did. His was a banner that I definitely did not want to go crazy on, considering that we still have no idea what is potentially going to happen next week. There could be something coming out, Jiren, Cell Max maybe, or, you know, in 2 weeks time it's the worldwide celebration. So we do have a friend Toppo, 55%, link level 1, freshly pulled. So we're going to jump in and test him out here. I've built as interesting a team as I can for this guy. So here he is. The leader of the Pride Troopers. I like how he's the leader and not Jiren. Oh, and then of course we have the LR Ginyu Force on the team, because now we have a team for them, right? Like the full special pose team. These guys actually don't need any Ginyu Force allies specifically. They just need special pose allies. So they'll be good on this team. And then we've got the Gammas. It's a very interesting setup for me for this Toppo team, because not having him as the leader myself, obviously Gotenks is the leader. He only gives a 170 lead, so this guy will be a little bit weaker than he would be if he was on his own team, obviously. But he should still be pretty decent. I don't have the LR Gammas either, so it's kind of a shame that like some of the key like pieces for this Toppo team, obviously Toppo himself, and then the LR Gammas I did not get. But we're still going to take a look at him and see what he's like. But yeah, so he leads special pose or tournament participants for 3 key 170, and then he gives an extra 30% to Defenders of Justice, Space Traveling Warriors, or Final Trump card. His super attack is the Justice Tornado, greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn and does immense damage to the enemy. And then we get our intro animation that we saw, which gives us 11% damage reduction for the rest of the battle, guards all attacks for 3 turns, and you get that as long as you have 2 or more special pose or Defenders of Justice allies on the team. Then he gets attack and defense 200%, additional attack 150 when performing a super. He has 20% damage reduction, so obviously paired with the intro buff he has 31%. Changes int key spheres to rainbow when HP is 50% or more, and then he supports special pose or Defenders of Justice allies for 1 key and 30% attack and defense. He gets an additional defense 50% within the same turn after receiving an attack. Then he gets 200% and guards all attacks as the first attacker in the turn. Then he gets an additional attack and defense 100% when performing a super if he's the second or third attacker. So he can hit a bit harder in slot 2 or 3, but in slot 1 he gets guard and a bunch of extra defense. And then he has the active skill to transform into full power, but that will be, or into the God of Destruction Toppo mode, but that will be turn 4. So he starts off on 159k defense, so basically 160. Some of these links that he's got, like Hero of Justice, are really only for attack. Signature pose is only attack once it's leveled up as well. So he doesn't have a ton of like defense links outside of Tough as Nails, which does give 20% defense and 5% damage reduction at level 10. So linking him up with one of the other characters that has that, like I think the Int Toppo Pride Troopers that we're getting the sub EZA for, does have that. But yeah, let's go ahead and see how well he's going to look here. Because bear in mind, he does have his 200% leader skill, and then he's getting the 170 from Gotenks. So, of course, his stats would be a little bit higher if he was on a 200% lead. But his only 200% leaders on Global currently are Tech, Zamasu, because he has Realm of Gods, Physical, Goku Black, Rose, because obviously Toppo is on Super Bosses, and then Kale because of Transformation Boost, and then Universe Survival Saga. But the problem is those teams are not really teams where you're gonna throw in a bunch of like special pose characters. So this kind of team, even though the leader skill is a little bit lower, is probably a better team for him than like a Super Bosses team, for example. Unless you start throwing like the Jiren units and stuff on there. But with him supporting special pose, like that is the kind of team that you want to run him on. With the special pose or Defenders of Justice characters. So, but we'll see how he gets on. Obviously he doesn't have any kind of stacking or anything like that while he's in base, so we don't have to worry about things like additionals and stuff like that. I want to get Dispo floated off so we can have the 2 of them together. So we'll do this. Hopefully Tech Gotenks can just get the dodges in slot 1 here. Well, it's only 1 dodge, I say, but he didn't, so he takes 200k. Nice. Good old Tech Go Tanks. I forgot the sticker effect. Hey, that's fine. I still feel like TUR, Gamma 1 and 2 should be on super bosses. I mean, yeah, it's weird that they're superheroes. They fight them for the most of the movie. So I know it'd be kind of weird, but they should be superheroes and super bosses, really. But that's a Gamma 1. Oh, Gamma 1 was in slot 7 then, I guess. Because I guess for this team build, we kind of want him to be our other slot 1 unit. So very typical that he was on the other rotation. We do get a bit of support here from Gamma 1 though. So we've got a little bit of extra defense to what we had on turn 1. So we'll go ahead and do this. Does mean Gamma 1 hasn't had any build up yet either, which is a little bit annoying. Yeah, 8 million. I mean, that's pretty good considering, like, we got a decent bit of support on this turn. And he's got a couple of links active, right? We had, was it 4 links active with Gamma 2? So, considering 55% level 1 links and one of the leaders is only a 170, he's still hitting a 8 million attack stat here on turn 1. It's pretty good. So Gamma 2, I mean Gamma 2 still has the this great potential, especially when linked to some of these other characters. TOPPO is giving him support as well as Gamma 1. So he's up to a 12 million here now. Building up that crit chance as well. And then Gamma 1, who obviously is the stronger defensively of the two, but still hitting over an 8 mil. And bear in mind, he's Rainbow Link level 10, and he's hitting the same attack stat here as TOPPO, who is brand new, freshly pulled, 55% level 1 links. So that is pretty good. So get you to transform. Still not in the best. We still haven't really got our rotations set the way I would like, especially with the... That's 700k defense on the second turn. That's crazy. I mean, the support from the LR Ginyu Force is obviously very good. But yeah, 700k defense on the turn where he's transforming into Super Saiyan. It's kind of wild. Godku sold in Battlefield of all places. Oh no. Yeah, that's some good damage from Ingo Tanks, 13.2 mil. I mean, that's the thing, right? We were talking about when the LR Ginyu Force came out, when we were talking about TOPPO coming out in the future. Like, this team is actually quite good because of all the support that's floating around, right? Like, Gotenks hitting these, like, 12 into 13 mil attack stats on a team with a 170 and a 200% lead, not like a full double 200%, is pretty good. So yeah, now we've got this guy linked up with Dispo. They share all of these links, so everything except Tough as Nails and Supreme Warrior. So that's pretty decent, although of course we can now transform. So there's no real reason not to, because we don't stack anything or anything in base. So yeah, the animations are still on. So let's go ahead and transform TOPPO here.
I won't be fighting for justice anymore. That side of me is through.
So there you go, transforms into the God of Destruction TOPPO. Some of his links change, so he gains godly power and solid support, but of course, unfortunately, that then means he links worse with Dispo, but I guess it is what it is. So once he transforms into God of Destruction TOPPO, his super attack becomes the Justice Flash, massively raises attack and raises defense for 1 turn, does immense damage, and then we get Key 3, attack and defense 300%, additional attack 250% when attacking, which which is that's a huge amount, like 300 start of turn and then 250 when attacking. Additional defense 100% when receiving an attack. Changes int key spheres to rainbow. Guards all attacks. Reduces damage received by 80%, but with each attack received, he loses 8% damage reduction. No more than 60. So he's got 80%. He gets hit for the first time, it'll go down to 72, and then he takes the second hit, and it'll drop down to what, 64. So basically every time he gets hit, he loses a bit of damage reduction, but it'll never go lower than him having 20% because he can only lose 60%. He nullifies Ki Blast super attacks directed at the character for 1 turn from his entry turn, and then starting from the next turn he has a high chance to nullify. So on his first turn where you transform, he has guaranteed nullification. And then after that, so it's not, I thought when I read it on the wiki, I thought it was the first time he has to negate a super, but it is just on his first turn. So unfortunately that means on the turn where you transform him, if he doesn't get a Ki Blast super directed at him, then it's basically useless, because it only works on the first turn, but then it goes up to 50%. And Talas saying in the chat, he did give him some, he has got some skill orbs, so he has 4 crit and 4 dodge. Now, this guy, dodge is a really good build for him because he's got that 80% damage reduction to start with, but if he dodges the first attack that comes his way, obviously not only do you take 0 damage, but then you don't lose 8% of your damage reduction because he didn't get hit. So then if the second attack that's directed at him hits him, he still has 80% damage reduction at that point. So if you do pull dupes for him, full dodge is probably the way to go. So he has 175k start of turn. When he gets hit, he gets 100%. So he goes up to over almost 350. And has guard. So I guess the downside is if you're fighting a boss that doesn't do a Ki Blast super, slot 1 could be a bit of a liability. I mean, I guess it's not on turn 1 because 80% damage reduction. But 10 million attack stat. And there you go. So he's been hit twice. So obviously we took no damage. But it means on the next turn he only has 64% damage reduction, which is still good. But obviously not as high as we would like for some of these difficult events if he's going to be eating super attacks. But yeah, this STR Dispo was the banner unit for Tech UI Goku. I did pull 2 copies of him. He is supposed to be really good, but I was going to say if he eats the super hit, he probably just dies. He gets the dodge, and then Gamma 2. Obviously get him floated off here so we can have the Gamma's rotation. Typical that Gamma 1... If I'd noticed Gamma 1 was in slot 7, I should have floated off Gamma 2 straight away, but... Yeah, guard and dodge from his orbs, yeah. God Goku can still be okay in the current meta, but, like, he is kind of relying on that dodge now against the harder hitting bosses. And that's the thing, if you only need 3 orbs to get the bonus dodge, and then he's got like 60% dodge chance, but still very often that can fail you, which is unfortunate. So we'll do that. Do that. Damn, Gamma 1's still actually taking damage. I think God Goku, yeah, God Goku's super attack counts as an unarmed, so if he super attacks Gamma 1, he could actually negate it. Which he didn't, so now he's going to die. Nice. At least I think he will. Maybe he won't because it's post-super buff. Okay. Close, though. 17.5 million for Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. It's pretty good. I was going to say, the 2 Gotenkses should tank everything on the turn for double digits now, but damn. Gamma 1 letting us down. He can definitely nullify the super, because I know God Goku can't do damage to Kid Buu, because he has an unarmed super. So Gamma 1 not getting the super attack negation. Fortunately, he tanked it relatively well, otherwise we would just be dead. But yeah, TOPPO gets to attack first and has the damage reduction, so still has 64%. Now we can use the Ginyu Force active skill. Attack and defense 25% for the rest of the battle. All allies attack and defense 15%. So we're going to go ahead and use that. And then that gives the extra defense to TOPPO and Dispo as well. So Alright, so Topo is at 190k defense start of turn. We can use his active skill. So he has the Sphere of Destruction, massively raises his attack temporarily, causes ultimate damage to the enemy. All attacks become crits in battle. So basically, once you've used his active skill, so we're just going to use it straight away. Once you've used his active skill, all of his attacks for the rest of the battle are crits. So as much as it's good to do damage active skills a bit later on to finish off the tough bosses and stuff, it's really beneficial for him to use his straight away, because then he just gets guaranteed crits for the whole of the rest of the battle. So realistically, you don't need to give him any crit in the hidden potential system, because once you've used his active skill, any crit he has in the hidden potential is just wasted, because he's always going to be critting anyway. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do this. So he's got 190k, he gets, was it just a 30% raise on his normal super. And we're definitely not getting a huge amount of HP here. I mean, I want to see how well Topo would tank, but I'm also a bit worried about like the Ginyu Force just dying in slot 3 here. I could just use an item, I suppose, but to save the Ginyu Force from dying. Although, I mean, Topo doesn't have any build-up, so we get to see exactly what Topo can do here. Because if I use an item, because he's been hit twice, he has 64% damage reduction. If I use this, then that means he has, what, 94% damage reduction? So there's no way he can die. But yeah, I guess we do that just to make sure the Ginyu Force don't get sold out at the end here, I guess. Don't let my Topo fail. I mean, that's the thing, because I have to use a friend Topo as well. So if we fail, it's not like I can just jump straight back in with another one, because I might not even be able to find one. But I mean, if he does a normal attack, which he did, Topo would have tanked that for double digits anyway, because with his post-super defense and then 64% damage reduction, there's no way he's taking damage from that. So bear in mind, he now has, what, 56% damage reduction going forwards. Which is still, again, still good, but it does kind of reach those levels now where we're at 55%. If his start of turn defense is only like 180k, if he's taking a super from one of these big bosses in slot 1, like 54% damage reduction isn't enough for him to be able to just eat that for nothing, right? Because even like if we often do calculations for like a 2 or 3 million super, but if we think about a 2 million super attack, so minus what, 56%, would be 880k. So if he had 200k, even if he had 200k defense start of turn, that's 680. He does have guard, so it'd be a bit less than that, but that means he's taking like 400 and odd k, 450 potentially in slot 1. So that's why dodge is good, because once he's transformed, getting a few of those dodges in and him not losing his damage reduction as quickly is obviously going to be super beneficial. So if you do pull dupes, I would recommend dodge and then additional, because additional, his super attack effect is pretty good, so him getting an extra super does raise his defense, as well as, because he has massively raised attack, the additional super will do a considerable bit of extra damage as well. So definitely a bit of additional and then dodge. Crit for him, like I said, is pretty much completely pointless, because there's no reason not to transform him straight away, and then you can use his active skill pretty much on like the next turn, and from then on you have guaranteed crits for the rest of the fight. So every single point you have put into crit in his hidden potential is wasted once you've used his active skill, because it's then just not doing anything for you, because he's getting guaranteed crits anyway. So that's the way I like to think of it. Like, I know some people will want to give him some crits so that he can crit in his base form, but he's really there on the team to be like a defensive supporting unit, so he doesn't really need to be critting in his base form. Especially if you're running units on his team like Jiren, this Dispo that can get quite a lot of build up, like, he doesn't really need to be there to do damage, right? So let's get Gotenks, transform Gotenks into Super Saiyan 3. Okay, so can we get the Dokkan attack here with Topo? I think we can if we get Yeah, get all the type orbs. So yeah, 190k. He's still got 54% damage reduction. So obviously takes the double digits. He gets extra defense when he gets hit. That's the thing, is getting that first hit and getting the extra 100% defense. So he is one of those units you really don't want the first attack of the turn he takes to be a super. As long as he takes a normal first, then he gets that defense buff. So he's at 11 million attack stat here without loads of support, which is pretty good for 55% level 1 links. And with a 170 lead as my leader. Because obviously all of these numbers will be a bit higher if you're running him, like if you've pulled him yourself and are running double Topo leads. So obviously we eat all the normals, but that's our damage reduction very much like worn down now. But yeah, I would say overall, like, Topo is good. He's definitely a good unit. He's a fun unit. His team can be very interesting. Like, it's hard building a team like this to just run him as a friend. But like his own team, because of the way his leader skill is set out, you can definitely run some very interesting units on there. And it can be a very fun team build. Like I said, especially if you did get like the LR Gammas and stuff like that. But, ooh, big damage on Dispo there. Despite type advantage as well, that's crazy. I mean, he is more about the dodging when it comes to his defense, but Gotenks probably finishes off Goku here. But yeah, so that's 55% level 1 links Topo. He's definitely not a bad unit, but he's not like a must-have. I say, if you can spare the stones, maybe doing the discounted steps and getting that guaranteed featured summon could be worth a try. But with everything coming up in the future, whilst he is a super fun unit, if he was coming out in a sort of dead period where we knew there was nothing else coming out for a couple of weeks and nothing else had come out literally the week before, because Tech UI Goku, I think, is definitely a character that is much more worth summoning for this guy. So if you were thinking of dropping some stones before the worldwide, I'd probably still just recommend summoning for Tech UI Goku than Topo. But he's definitely a fun unit. The team's fun. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.